Welcome to the Omega Metroid podcast. My name is Andy Spiteri, and actually not joined by Dakota Lasky this week. He's out on assignment somewhere, so we brought back Rod Lloyd from Zelda Dungeon. Rod, how you doing today?
I think the right word would be exhausted.
Oh, man. Yeah, so you and I were both up at, it was 6 a.m. your time, 7 a.m. my time.
Yeah, even though I was up at 4:45 before that.
Oh,
to prep.
That's horrible. I rolled out of bed like literally 10 minutes before it started.
Yeah, no, I wanted to make sure that it was like, if there's an English stream, I'm going to find it. And they didn't have one. So I was up at 5 a.m. trying to understand Japanese.
You know, that stream I actually think was worth it because we saw a lot of cool new stuff. We got the reveal of Impa as a playable character in Hyrule Warriors. But then the kicker came when we also stayed up until, 2 a.m. my time, 1 a.m. your time
1
to
a.m.
see the second part of the stream. Oh, yeah. God.
I don't know. Like, I'm glad we did it just in case, but it was just kind of like, here's more.
Yeah, the second stream was not probably worth staying up too late. We had 15 minutes of fine Breath of the Wild trivia.
Oh.
So yeah, tired is a good descriptor, but we are here today and happy to be here, and we are going to be talking about Metroid and Super Smash Bros. So I'm really excited.
You got to say it like the announcer.
Super Smash Bros. Do they say bros or brothers?
Brothers.
Before we get there, one quick thing that we should probably go over really quickly: the latest hire from Retro Studios. They have brought on John Marcella, previously of Sony Santa Monica, and he worked on God of War for the PlayStation 4. I feel like we say this every single time that Retro brings in a new member to their team, but like, man, they are just getting like the cream of the crop. Every game that these guys have worked on has been like a home run. God of War was an amazing game, and John Marcella was like was one of the senior game designers there. So he's going to be an environmental designer. So
yeah, that's what I was going to ask. You did environments, right?
Yeah. I'm really excited about that because God of War was like such a... In many ways, it was kind of like almost like a Metroid game where like it was very atmospheric. You kept on going to like the same parts of the map and like exploring a little bit deeper when you got new abilities. Obviously, it has more of an emphasis on combat, but yeah, it shares, I think, some DNA actually.
And it's gorgeous in like an isolated kind of way. So
yeah,
I think Metroid's a perfect fit.
Very, very excited about that. It seems like the dream team that they have over at Retro. And I can't wait until we finally see something about Metroid Prime 4. I feel like it's got to be coming soon. Maybe like even just a teaser or something, an update.
We'll see. I don't know.
I don't know either.
2021, bro.
Yeah, 2021. We'll see what the season finale of 2020 brings us. I'm sure it'll be something bad versus good.
We're gonna get a Metroid Warriors game.
You know what? I would be actually totally down for that.
Age of Phazon.
I made like a mock-up list of like people I would like to see in a Metroid Warriors game. We'll put that on the table for a future episode, actually, because I think that they could do some cool stuff. But yeah, kind of close to Metroid Warriors is Super Smash Bros. Same concept, all the different characters from all the different worlds fighting together. I don't need to tell you guys the history of Smash. It's one of the most successful video game franchises ever. And today, I just wanted to talk about the history of Metroid in Super Smash Bros. You know, we were kind of joking on Twitter with one of our listeners about like how great it was the time that Ridley showed up and killed Mario in Super Smash Bros.
Yeah.
But I think that there's like some really cool backstory that, has been going on in Smash and Metroid since the very beginning. So, Rod and we're going to take you on a journey from Metroid 64 all the way to Smash Ultimate, or Smash 64, sorry, all the way to Smash Ultimate.
Might as well have been Metroid 64. There's no Metroid on this Nintendo 64.
I mean, that was literally the only, like, the closest thing we had to Metroid 64. So, and I guess let's start there, actually, because Samus is one of the original 12 characters picked for Super Smash Bros., which is kind of like a sign of confidence, I guess, even though she didn't have a game on the Nintendo 64. Retroactively looking at it, because I didn't really know any better when I played it, back in 1999, but I feel like Samus being promoted as like one of the key 8 original non-hidden character fighters in that game was actually a pretty big deal, considering, it would be, this is smack dab in the middle of the 8-year hiatus in between Super Metroid and Metroid Prime. So I feel like that was a pretty big get, actually, for Metroid. And again, it just makes me wonder, like, why we never got an N64 Metroid title.
I think it speaks to the strength of Super Metroid, because in a way, the Smash Brothers games, like every current Smash Brothers game, kind of calls to mind the previous generation of games that Nintendo put out. So I feel like, there's some like early N64 games that are kind of celebrated in Super Smash Brothers, and like Pokemon 2 was a very new franchise at the time, but like you look at Smash 64, all of the characters are like, they all had big games on the Super Nintendo, like
right.
Earthbound and F-Zero X, and Super Metroid is like, in my opinion, the best Super Nintendo game, so it would make sense that Samus would be in there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's the best Super Nintendo game. But then, you look at, by this point, we see Mario and Luigi, and they have Mario 64. We have Ocarina of Time by this point. I even want to say Pokemon Stadium was out on the N64 by this point. Star Fox, of course. F-Zero was out on the N64. So I feel like really Samus and Ness are kind of the outliers here that don't have any representation on the Nintendo 64.
Yep.
So it's weird, but it's also, I think you nailed it. Like, kind of just shows the strength of Super Metroid even 5 years after its release. But like contextually, like looking back at it, that's kind of weird. But like contextually, when I was playing this, I was what would I have been? 10, 11 maybe.
I was 7.
I did, and I'm going to assume, Rod, had you ever heard of Metroid or ever heard
Nope.
of Samus before Super Smash Bros?
Yeah, so I was thinking about it, like when I picked up Smash Brothers. I would consider myself an N64 kid. I had a hand-me-down Super Nintendo, but I only had Mario games for it. So I picked that game up, and like I said, I knew who Mario was, I knew who the Pokemon were, I knew who like Donkey Kong and Yoshi were. I didn't know who Samus was because I'd never played a Metroid game, and like if I didn't have Super Metroid and there was no N64 Metroid game, that's obviously I wouldn't know who that was. And I didn't even know who Link was because I hadn't played a Zelda game yet.
Wow.
Yeah. And I have a funny story. Playing Super Smash Brothers, and you're introduced to this Samus character. I didn't know it was a girl.
Me neither.
Yeah. So I'm playing it, and like, so we just all assumed it was just this cool space marine in a cool, like, like a Darth Vader or something like that. And then I remember going to a friend's house like before school one day, and he's like, "You gotta look at this." And we boot up a game, and he's Pikachu, and I was Samus, and he shocked. Like normally when you shock somebody as Pikachu, you kind of see if you pause it, you can see their skeleton underneath, Yeah. If you shock Samus, you see a silhouette of a lady, and we're all like, "What?"
Man, I remember. I think that they're not quite trophies, but or maybe they are. They have something that's like a descriptor of the characters.
Yeah.
Like a little bio. And when they said that Samus was a woman, I was just like, "What? I can't believe that. Like that's so weird." And at the time, I'm like 11 or 10, so I'm just like, "Oh, that's lame. Like she looks like this cool, like badass warrior that I want to be like." And I remember it took me probably like a couple days to realize that that was actually pretty cool, that she wasn't like just your generic space marine or whatever. But at the time, because I just had my kind of preconceived idea of who Samus was or whatever, I was just like, oh, that's so weird. Like, I don't know if I like that. But yeah, that was my introduction to Metroid as well. Like, and really, Smash Bros is just so underrated in terms of like introducing a wide audience to these Nintendo series. Like, everybody knows Pokemon, everybody knows Mario and Donkey Kong, but like, man, you like imagine what the Smash series did for Metroid. Definitely what it did for Fire Emblem. Without Smash, like, Fire Emblem wouldn't even be over here. I feel pretty safe saying. So yeah, it was a really awesome experience to like. I was instantly hooked because Samus just looks so cool, and her stage, was pretty cool. I think I've told this story. Well, actually, I want to talk about the N64 stages in a sec, but before we get there, like, I remember playing this, and I was like, this is so awesome. And then I had my dad take me to like a mom and pop little grocery shop, and they still rented Super Nintendo games in 1999. And he actually, like, we found Super Metroid, and he was just like, hey, can I just buy this instead of rent it? And we picked it up for $10.
Nice.
Which is like just a steal. So that was my introduction to the Metroid series, is through Super Smash Bros. And then quickly into Super Metroid. So, man, the power of Smash is really like something else.
And that would mean Samus is the only female fighter in the first Smash Brothers, right? Jigglypuff, maybe?
I was going to say maybe Jigs, but yeah, definitely. Pretty big achievement.
Yeah.
I thought that was like, I thought that it was like such a non-unique thing to me. I think that there's so many people out there that their first introduction to Samus was from Super Smash Bros. I know that Dak has said that he first got into Metroid from playing Smash. Yourself, me, like I really think that Metroid really owes a lot to Super Smash Bros. On the N64. But yeah, so it was a pretty big deal to have Samus in there, especially at the time when there's 12 characters. Let's talk about the stage, though. You fight on the stage of Zebes, which I actually feel like this way about almost every stage in Smash 64, but they're not great. It's basically just a series of platforms, and there's nothing special about it.
Yeah, there's like cardboard cutouts of the back, and that's about it. Like, I would honestly say that Planet Zebes is the one with the biggest gimmick, with the acid rising from below every so often.
Yeah, I guess, like, I remember the whirlwind from Hyrule Castle was kind of cool, and you had the barrels in Congo Jungle. I remember feeling that Zebes was it was a little bit plain, I thought.
To me, it was like the stage that if it popped up in like story mode or classic mode or whatever, arcade mode, it was the one where I was like, okay, this is the one I can cheese the opponent out of. Like,
right.
Because I always played Kirby, so I would just like fly super high and just let the acid take the enemy down, So like none of my friends liked to play Zebes because it just seemed like a stage that you could cheat on.
Yeah, I hated playing Kirby, actually. My brother played Kirby. He was the worst. He would just fly up, drop right down.
Yeah, Kirby's my main,
worst.
Man.
Really wicked remix of the NES Brinstar theme here, too. And I think that this remix kind of like cemented that song as like the Metroid main theme. Because I think it was a theme before this, but now it's like the theme.
Yeah, I mean, even in the original Metroid game, like the main theme is just that very quiet, like, do, do. And then I don't know, like, that's not as iconic as Brinstar to me.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Yeah, and I think that this is where you really see that theme become like, the main theme. But yeah, before I always thought of the title theme from Super Metroid as the main theme. But I think that Smash definitely had a hand in kind of changing that. And actually, while we're talking about that, with Ridley's theme as well, because that wasn't necessarily Ridley's theme specifically, but I think through Smash, that theme, became associated particularly with Ridley.
I think
kind of cool.
Well, I mean, for me, like the Ridley theme was like very prominent in the remix scene, like even like the late 90s, early 2000s on the internet, like very early internet, like OC Remix, like people just started calling it Ridley's theme. So it had nowhere else to go but to Ridley, you know. It had to be him.
Okay, let's talk about Ridley. So it felt like a never-ending journey for Ridley to finally get into Smash, and the whole thing started when Super Smash Bros. Melee came out. In the opening cinematic, you see Samus battling with Ridley. She jumps over him, fires a missile, and
Gosh, that was so freaking cool.
Oh, it was so awesome. Actually, the entire intro to Melee was just
I remember
so
I remember
awesome.
the day I bought that game. It was New Year's Eve. Was it 2001? Was when the game came out?
Yeah.
So I bought it just before the new year in 2002. I went to the store, picked it up, and like you watch that intro and you're just like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Like, this is what it means to be a Nintendo fan.
It was so awesome. And like when I think that you could rightly assume when you saw that intro that like, hey, this dragon is going to be like playable. This is Samus's nemesis. But if you watch that intro, he actually has the little trophy stand attached to him, he being Ridley. So they kind of slyly didn't do that, or slyly snuck that in there. But I think that's what got the ball rolling, where everybody was just like, okay, let's get Ridley into Smash. Because at least from my perspective, it seemed like for years, like from Brawl to Smash 4 to, you know, any time that we were just like, let's get new characters into Smash, it was like Ridley was by far like the fan cry, the one that everybody wanted to see kind of cross that threshold and become like a playable character.
Oh yeah, I mean, when Smash came out, like Melee came out, I wasn't like really using the internet. So when we discovered that a new character was in the game, it was like a surprise, you know. And you'd hear whispers on the schoolyard. There's a character named Mr. Game and Watch, and we're like, what is that? And it sounds like they're lying, right? So you just think that players or fighters are in the game that aren't there. So like you said, you could just assume that Ridley was in the game. I had even thought that Samurai Goro from F-Zero was in the game because he was in that opening cinematic as well. And you just hope that you'll somehow unlock the character just by doing something weird. Like, oh yeah, you got to fight 50 characters in the Cruel Smash to do it.
Dude, do you remember the EGM April Fool's prank where it was like, if you KO 100 people in Cruel Smash, you get Sonic and Tails?
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh man, that was so good. I legit think that like tons of people fell for that too.
I'm pretty sure I heard about that on the schoolyard. People were like, "Oh yeah, Sonic's in the game." I was like, "Well, let's go get him."
Yeah. So yeah, this is where the Ridley hype I think really started and like really kind of built up the mystique of Ridley as like more than just like a boss, because you know in Super Metroid he's definitely positioned as like the bad guy, but I think that this took him to like another level because like, you know, he's in Smash and like he is prominent in that intro for at least that one scene, and like he had such a cool trophy. I think that like at least for me, I was just like, man, but like I want to play as this guy. Like he looks awesome. And at that point too, you were seeing other villains come into the series like Bowser and Ganondorf, Mewtwo. So yeah, man, I think this is where it started.
And he was the only like other Metroid character that I knew, because I had my first Metroid game was Metroid Prime, so I didn't know any other. Like I didn't know who Mother Brain was, but just because of that intro and the trophies and stuff, it's like you start to learn. It's like, well, Ridley's from Metroid. He fights Samus. So you're like, okay, so why isn't he in this game?
Yeah, pretty much. At the time, there really wasn't anyone else that you could put in, like unless you were maybe gonna stick in an Omega Metroid, which would seem kind of weird. Yeah. But yeah, Ridley was the guy, which kind of created this fun journey that you know we will continue to go on as we get through more Smash games here. Going over to the stages here really quick, I feel like with one exception, I feel like the stages in Metroid for Smash are kind of like a weak spot. Maybe not weak, but they're definitely not they're not a strong spot. So we get Brinstar in here, which is basically the same thing as Zebus, but it breaks apart.
Yeah, I liked that.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah, I didn't like you had to discover that. Like at least with my group of friends, it was just like oh, hey, if you punch this thing, it breaks. And we're like, what?
I thought that it was kind of good. It was neat that you could see Ridley flying around in the background too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was okay. It had like the Wicked theme going on, which I really liked. But I think that probably the best Metroid stage is Brinstar Depths.
No.
I think so.
Really?
Well, think about it, because like you have the awesome music, which is one of the best pieces of music from Metroid in the game. You have the giant Kraid in the background, and like I'm a total mark for Kraid. So if Kraid's showing up, you know that I'm gonna like it. But like it was just kind of unique too, because like you have like kind of a stage hazard, but you can still fight it out, and like I thought that it was a unique enough premise that I was taken with it. The stage itself like is kind of bland. It's basically just a big rock, but the fact that it's rotating, I thought that was pretty cool, and I think like I think that this is probably the best Metroid stage.
Really? Yeah. So to me, it was like it's too big, and I remember matches on that thing would just take forever because people would run away and hide and like sit on the very edge, sort of like the temple stage. It's just too big.
Yeah.
Too many nooks and crannies and places where people could just run away. If I wanted to be mean and play as Kirby and like fly away from somebody and like land on a rock on the side of the stage, I could.
I guess I like the only thing I didn't like about it is there's that one little platform. I think it's on like the lower right or something like that.
Yeah.
Where like if you fall on there, you're boned. And,
right.
Like you basically can't get back up unless you have
unless
like
you're
Kirby or Jigs or something like that. So I didn't like that necessarily, but yeah, I think like I think I would say that's my favorite Metroid stage. But again, like I don't think that Metroid has the best stages in Smash. I think
it's
that
the
there's
best
some,
of the worst.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say the worst. They're like
it's no electroplankton. I'll give you that.
yeah, that was something else. That's probably the worst stage in Smash. I can't off the top of my head. I can't think of a
maybe
worse
the Pikmin stage.
No, that stage is okay. That's not as bad as
Electroplankton.
Yeah,
Electroplankton's terrible.
But yeah, like I feel like Zelda has some really great stages in Smash. Mario obviously does. Metroid, I feel like their stages are just kind of average.
Yeah, I agree.
So as we'll see when we get further on here too, like they all kind of share like the very very basic same identity. But let's move on and let's talk about Super Smash Bros. Brawl. And this is where I think things really.
Wait, we got to talk about one more thing with Melee, the adventure stages.
Oh yeah. Wow,
So
I can't believe I forgot that.
You talk about Metroid having really weak stages. I felt like the Metroid segment of the adventure mode in Melee was also kind of weak. Like when I think of adventure mode, I think of either like Mario Kingdom at the very beginning, right, where you're jumping on Goombas and Koopas and stuff, or I think of the Zelda level where you're underground, like in a labyrinth, and you're fighting Redeads and Octoroks.
Yeah,
and that was so freaking cool. Like, because I had played, obviously I had played Zelda by that point. Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask were like my favorite games. So like seeing Redeads in the game, they're not fighters, but they're there. I was like, oh, that's so freaking cool. And Metroid, you don't get any of that. And Metroid's like the perfect game to recreate in Smash. Like have a little maze.
It's I can't remember. Is there like there's an escape sequence or something?
There's an escape sequence, which kind of makes sense, but that's it. You just kind of jump up some platforms and reach the end, and you're done. You don't fight any of the classic Metro. Like, put some Metroids in there. Have to swat away some Metroids as you're escaping or something.
Yeah, it was again like a little bit disappointed. I'm actually. I said I can't believe I forgot that, but actually I can believe that I forgot it because it wasn't like
it's not.
It wasn't anything to write home about. But,
just another thing to complain about.
I mean, I thought that mode was just like so cool.
Yeah,
in general, that
I
like
agree.
I wasn't super disappointed, but they had an opportunity to do something really cool. I think with their, but I will say I think that they made up for it in Brawl. Because man,
subspace.
Metroid got cooking in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I guess first and foremost, we got our second Metroid playable character, kind of Zero Suit Samus.
Although, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
this was the time when Zero Suit Samus was still hidden behind like regular armored Samus, and you could only unlock her by activating the Zero Laser.
Yeah, the ultimate Smash.
Whatever. Yeah, which was like kind of weak, I thought. Although it was kind of fun that you could throw your armor after you were done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that there was a way that you could like press some buttons and start a Zero Suit Samus, but I was never good enough to do that. I feel like I always messed it up.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was really cool that like the Zero Suit Samus was in there. I remember that she was featured, pretty prominently in the Brawl reveal trailer.
Yeah. It was super unique give Samus something cool to do, like give her like a chic Zelda transformation in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, so this one, I feel like this one was a really big, kind of a big deal. But again, I just remember like even some people were like, oh, this is kind of lame because we already have Samus in the game. Nobody wants to play Samus without the suit. Give us Ridley as a playable character. And I remember this was the point where I was like really into like message boards and stuff like that, and like a lot of people were complaining that that Samus, Zero Suit Samus was playable, and then like Ridley was not.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like again, Ridley really had a lot of steam behind him, and to me, it always felt like Nintendo recognized how much fans wanted Ridley to be playable, and they could never deliver on it, but they always tried to do something else with Ridley instead. And I think that this game was like the first game where like you really saw that.
He was you fought him, right? Like in the Subspace Emissary.
Yeah. Actually, you fought him twice.
Okay.
In Subspace Emissary, which was a really cool mode, by the
way. Yeah, I totally agree.
But yeah, so you fought Ridley in Subspace Emissary, which is a really cool fight. And then you fight him again as Meta Ridley on the Big Blue, which was awesome. So like, I think there's only maybe like 6 or 7 bosses in Subspace Emissary. So for Ridley to show up twice, I thought was a really big deal. And I always kind of took that as like them saying, okay, like, he's not a playable character, but this is our compromise. You can fight him in this really wicked boss battle mode. And not only that, but you can fight Meta Ridley as well.
I think around this time, and it may have been with Smash 4, but Masahiro Sakurai was asked, hey, how come Ridley's not a playable fighter in this? And his answer was, well, Ridley's too big. We don't want to shrink him down. He's just too big. And maybe he had been thinking like, okay, I want to put Ridley in here because I want to, please the fans, but he's just too big. And he had that hang up. So he's just like, okay, well, we'll have him fight him in this story mode. He could be the size that he needs to be. Because I mean, yeah, I get it. Ridley is very big in those other games.
You know what? Like, I always hated that actually, because you look at Super Metroid, he's not that big.
Really. the first Metroid for sure.
Yeah, or I mean, even I guess in Metroid Prime he was fairly big, but I mean, geez, look at Mario 64. Bowser is huge.
Yeah,
you can shrink him down.
Mario Sunshine, which by Brawl time had come out, and Bowser is 5 times the size of Mario or bigger.
Yeah. I don't know. I always hated that kind of explanation of why Ridley couldn't be in Super Smash Bros. Because I was like, you can literally dictate how big a character is or is not.
Right.
In the games, Diddy Kong and Donkey Kong are vastly different sizes, but in Super Smash Bros. They're not that dissimilar. So yeah, I always hated that reason. I thought that it was horrible. But we actually this is the game too where Metroid Prime had finally came out, so there was a ton of different Metroid trophies, Metroid music, lots of really good stuff. And Brawl was, again, the first game to introduce assist trophies. So we got, finally, a Metroid as an assist trophy. I loved this.
Yeah, it's perfect.
And I still did not know that you could freeze Metroids with, the little freezy things.
Oh, really?
I found that out a couple months ago, and I was blown away. Doesn't that make sense?
It totally does. I wonder if the ice climbers can combat Metroids better than any, other fighters can because of that.
I mean, They should be able
I haven't
to.
even like
that makes
experimented
sense.
with that.
Yeah. Really quick, what did you think about just going back to Zero Suit Samus? What did you think of like playing as Zero Suit Samus? Are you a fan of that or not really?
I like the character. I think now she's different enough from normal Samus to be her own character, and I'm glad they did that because it kind of sucked if like you wanted to play as Zero Suit Samus, other than like do that little trick like you mentioned, like you had to wait until you get the final smash to do it.
Right.
But I to me it was like if I was playing as Samus. And I got the final smash and was able to play as Zero Suit Samus. To me, it wasn't a detriment. It was just like, oh, cool. Now I get to do this for a little while.
I agree. I think the thing that I didn't like was that Zero Suit was hidden behind the final smash. Because like when I would play Smash with my buddies, like we were those guys that was like, okay, final destination, no items. So like actually getting to play, yeah, and like getting to play as her was impossible because like you couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember liking the concept, but not necessarily the execution back in the day.
I agree with you. I think making her own character is the right way to go. Same with Sheik, to be honest.
Yeah, same with Sheik. I mean, that one was a little bit more manageable, at least though, because you could transform freely at the time. Or I think this was when Pokemon Trainer was in the game too, where you could switch between them.
You're right.
So yeah, it was a little bit too bad that it was harder to do with Zero Suit Samus. But again, we got some new stages here. I think that they kind of fit the same criteria or like the same descriptor I said before. I think they're average. There's the Norfair stage, which I don't know. It doesn't really give me like Norfair vibes. I mean, there's lava everywhere, which is kind of cool, but like. You got the lava coming in from one side, and you got like the little bunker in the middle that you can safeguard.
Oh yeah, like I looked up and did some research before the show just to like remind myself of the different stages, and I like saw the picture of this one. I was like, yeah, I kind of remember that. But like all that stuff, it was just like you're reminding me of it. I was like, oh yeah, that was a thing that was in the game, completely out of my mind.
Again, I feel like it was just okay.
It's just okay.
Yeah, it was
not
just
bad
okay.
enough to be remembered for being bad, but not good enough to be remembered for being good.
Not only that, but they had the NES version, or the NES like Norfair music, and not like the iconic Super Metroid Norfair music either, which is like a super bummer, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, this stage I think is like just okay. There is like kind of a fun moment when like the lava's coming from everywhere. Where like you have to rush into that little bunker and like that can be kind of fun, but yeah, this one's okay. Just another generic set of floating platforms, and we also got the Frigate Orpheon, which
I think is the best Metroid stage in Smash. It's still not good, like it's not exceptional, but it's I think the best one.
I'd say it's my second favorite because like I think the idea is really cool. Like you have the Parasite Queen in the background. It has awesome music, but like it's just two platforms.
Yeah,
and like every now and then
the gravity will change.
Yeah, and to me, I'm just like I know it's kind of nitpicky, but I'm like, why is the gravity changing? Like that didn't happen in the game. Like it just kind of feels like out of left field. And then like I don't know. I just can't get over that. There's just like the platforms and like there's nothing else going on. Like. Yes, you have Parasite Queen in the background. It looks awesome, but I don't know. It feels like the same thing as Brinstar Depths to me.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. That music, man, is so good.
Oh yeah, that music is great.
It's really
like awesome.
To me, it's like the best version of the Brinstar theme. Just like rock and metal guitar.
I think that Smash Bros. Brawl has like incredible original Metroid music that they made with like the Samus is under fire. That's like that's awesome.
It's like actually,
that's from Metroid Prime Pinball, which I found out this year. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, because I have the entire Brawl soundtrack on my phone, so I'll listen into the car sometimes, and like that song will come on, and it's like. I kind of like that, like, Samus is under fire, and I'm like, okay,
I love it.
It's a little goofy, but it's like, no, it works, it's fine.
Oh, I love that. I actually use that for the Omega Metroid promo that I play over on the Zelda show.
Nice.
I don't know, man. When that guy's voice comes in and like the guitar riff starts, it gives me, it just makes me rise up like Frankenstein's monster and want to start mashing out. I love it. That was one of the greatest tracks, I think.
Yeah,
from
we gotta
Metroid.
look up and see who the guitarist for that song is, because it's so good. Like the last bit where he just kind of shreds and just goes off and does his own thing for a little while. I'm just like,
I actually really love the Versus Ridley track as well that they have in this one. Again, it's very like guitar heavy, but it sounds really intense. I think it's really good. It's really well done.
You know, it's kind of interesting that that Nintendo was actually jumping on. It's like, okay, we're gonna have Metroid music, but we're gonna do it with heavy metal, because when Brawl came out in 2008, that was around the time when the Metroid metal scene was cropping up. Like Metroid Metal, the band, was releasing stuff, you know. And I think their first album came out in 2009, so it was around the same time. So it's just interesting that everyone kind of agreed that metal was kind of the perfect way to portray like classic Metroid music, you know.
I mean, it worked. It definitely worked. Interesting note here too is that you have all of the hunters as trophies, which is kind of cool, and you have Dark Samus as a trophy as well. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
You know, actually, I guess we forgot to say, going back all the way to N64, the screw attack is an item in Super Smash Bros. As well. We totally glossed over. It's kind of a neat little item. Not the best, not the worst, but cool.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's something that does a lot of damage. Just I remember grabbing it and like just doing a bunch of damage as a kid. Like that was the best way to like get somebody's percentage up.
Yeah, I liked it, and it's a staple. It's stuck around, so shout out to the screw attack.
It's still in the games?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I feel like I don't see it very often anymore.
To be fair, I don't really play with items a whole lot. I usually shut them off, and if I do have items on, it's usually just Smash Balls.
Gotcha.
I'm one of those guys. I used to be really good at Smash Bros. Brawl and Melee, and like now I'm horrible. I couldn't win a match against anybody.
Could you wave
back
dash?
In the day? Oh yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, I never reached that far. I feel like wave dash was the gate that I just like. I'll leave that to the professionals.
I don't know that I could do it like very well. I could do it, but I don't know that I could do it in like a competitive setting when there's, you're thinking about fighting and stuff like that. But like when I was practicing and just like playing some like level 5 computers, yeah, I could wave dash. It was cool.
Yeah.
But then Super Smash Bros. 4 came around, and I was like absolutely horrible at it.
Yeah. And when that game came out, it was like the Wii U. None of my friends had Wii U's, so it was just like no one to play with. And I wasn't going to get it for the 3DS. Was it the DS or the 3DS? 3DS.
3DS, yeah. No, so I actually got it for both. I got it for the 3DS and for the Wii U. And I guess we might as well just talk about it since we're here anyways. This is kind of the unfortunate Metroid part of Super Smash Bros. Because you have the other M influence of that game onto Super Smash. So Samus' suit is different, which actually I think looks fine. I think her suit in Other M looks fine. But the one thing that I really notice, and let's just jump right to it. You get the new stage, which is the Pyrosphere, which again I feel like is just a lame stage. But like the thing that everybody remembers from that is you have Ridley as a character, but as a boss specific to that stage.
Right.
This was horrible. I thought. Like, first of all, Ridley looks terrible. His Other M model just looks absolutely brutal. He's got the weird like dolphin fin snout, and it looks horrible. He shows up as like a boss character, but like a playable character, and it's just like at this point it's just like, just make him a playable character.
Yeah,
like,
I forgot that Nintendo had. I forgot they did that. I forgot that was something that they were doing, like with stages. I was like,
It was horrible.
Yeah.
It was so bad. And like at least on like the Mega Man stage where you had the Yellow King, it kind of made sense because like you could damage him and he would explode and he'd hurt your enemies and blah blah blah. But this one, like, Ridley just kind of went away after a while and then came back. He had an icon in the bottom where, you know, your fighter icons go, and he would just show up there, and it's like, what is
just to remind you, hey, yeah, this guy's not on the character select screen. Just to remind you, this is what it could look like. But
it was horrible. This is probably my least favorite Metroid stage. Actually, I like it even less than like the N64 ones, because again, it's just a flat platform with kind of generic lava stuff in the background, and then you have this awful version of Ridley showing up, and like is he fighting with me? Is he fighting against me? What's going on? Like, yeah, it did not work for me at all. This is a low point.
I was going to say, if Other M influenced this version of Smash so much, like, if you did the taunt, does Samus do the thumbs down?
Oh, God. Yeah, this was bad, I thought. And I'm kind of, like, you know, when I was playing it, I was just like, why isn't Ridley just a playable character? But, like, looking back, I'm really glad that, like, Other M Ridley wasn't our, you know, introduction to Ridley as a playable character.
Oh, that would have sucked. You had to start out as a little baby and grow to become Ridley.
Oh, and then the bad thing too is that, like, all of the trophies are like Other M trophies. You've got like Little Birdie, Madeline Bergman. There's tons of Other M stuff because that was the only game released in between, in between Smash 4 and Brawl. So.
But like the latter Prime games didn't even get that much love, you know?
No.
Like, how unfortunate is it? Like, the Other M is the one, like, oh yes, this is the one we want to prop up Metroid's name on.
And not only that, but like they took some really cool Metroid enemies, and the trophies for them were like the Other M versions. So like Phantoon and Nightmare, they were the Other M versions rather than like the Super Metroid or Metroid Fusion versions of that, which also sucked. So,
I kind of like the Other M version of Phantoon a little bit. It's kind of cool.
I don't know. It's not my favorite. You know what? Okay, let's give some love here though. One cool thing is that you have the light suit as an alternate costume, which I thought looked great.
Yeah. And
you also have the Dark Samus alternate costume, which is, you know, funny considering where we're going.
Right.
But yeah, I thought that looked great. A couple cool things too is that you have like a absolute ton of new assist trophies here. You have the Metroid, which is returning, but you have Mother Brain, which is like super. That's
awesome.
The cool.
Yeah, I think that's that's like the coolest assist trophy from Metroid. Like, even better than the Metroid. I think it just looks sick.
It looks so good, and like it's not it's just like the tube Mother Brain,
right,
which I love even more. What is that laser called? The laser brain death attack or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever it was, it looks awesome. It looks like Super Metroid. And then you get Dark Samus as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And she's doing some cool phase-on attacks, which kind of makes you like a little bit sad that they didn't go like all in with Dark Samus and make her an original character.
And I mean, we'll when we get to Smash Ultimate, I'm sure we'll mention it, but I'm like, I feel like they're inching towards making Dark Samus just be its own thing.
Yeah.
Sort of like how Ganondorf has slowly but surely become his own character.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have any new stages for Nintendo 3DS. We just got Brinstar back. We talked about the Pyrosphere. I guess the only other thing to mention from Metroid and Smash 4 is on the 3DS version, there was a mode called Smash Run, which actually wasn't too terrible. It was sort of kind of close to Adventure Mode and Melee. Not really.
It's like you did it in order of release, right? Or debuts?
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
So it was like, you got to fight enemies and stuff like that, and you would go through and like you would try and defeat a certain number of enemies in a set time, or like collect stat boosts or something like that, and you have like 5 minutes to do all of this different stuff, and then if you do that, you get like customization stuff.
Oh yeah, I didn't even touch this at all.
This is when you can like the Mii character came in, and like you can get all the stat boosts that you can put on them, and Amiibo was like a big thing here. So it wasn't horrible, but like there was some cool enemies in there. Like you get to fight some Geemers or some Rios or stuff like that. So at least there was some like Metroid representation in there. But yeah, I don't know.
Those are the kind of enemies that should have been in Melee.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think that Smash 4 is kind of a low point for Metroid and Smash. It's probably the lowest.
Low point for Smash in general, to be honest.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that actually. It had a lot of cool characters. I think,
and the DLC really picked it up with some of those cool
oh, dude,
debuting third-party characters.
Yes. When Cloud debuted, I will never forget that.
Yeah.
'Cause I think that when Cloud debuted, that's the moment when you can just point to say, you know what? Anybody can be in Super Smash Bros. It doesn't
let's
matter
get
who they
Goku
are. I'm serious, man. When I saw that, I was like, okay, now it wouldn't surprise me to see Master Chief. It wouldn't surprise me to see, Kratos
Sub-Zero
from God of War. Any of those guys. I was just like, anything is possible now that we have Cloud Strife. So that was so good. I loved that. But yeah, let's cap it off here. Let's get to Metroid's redemption, its triumph in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Yeah.
This was, what was this, E3 2018? That we had the big trailer?
2017 was the year that Breath of the Wild showed, so I think it was 2018. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure at the point you and I would have both been working on this for Zelda Dungeon.
Yep, I was there. I was there when he was a playable character for the first time.
Oh, man. So, do you remember the Everybody's Here trailer, which was great? I actually wasn't, I didn't really care for the Everybody Is Here thing, because there's, a lot of filler characters, I feel like, that I didn't really care.
We know one character who wasn't there, Waluigi.
Wow.
There's a lot of saltiness over that day.
I popped to see the Ice Climbers come back, I do have to say, because I missed them in Smash 4. They probably took them out because they beat up Metroids too easily. But,
yeah.
Dude, at the end, when you see Samus, and Samus is in the center, and she's got Mario, and who else was it? Mega Man beside her? First of all, just the positioning, I was like, Samus is in the lead here. That's strange. And also, this is strange that this is ending Nintendo's E3 2018 press conference. So what could this be? And the second I saw that thing swoop across the screen and take out Mega Man, I was like, oh my god. Yep. And then it came out, popped Mario, and oh my god, I remember standing up and pumping my fist and shouting, which is actually available over on the Zelda show if you want to check that out. But
nice.
Dude, I was so jazzed to finally see Ridley get into Smash Bros. He looked awesome. The design was awesome. It wasn't that other M garbage. It was the Samus Returns model. It was so good, and it felt like such a long time coming from back in 2002. Man,
I think you had recorded that live show and then called us while we were out on location in LA, and we just gushed about it for half an hour or whatever. I remember that.
Yeah, we totally did that. Oh man, I think that's one of the greatest moments in Metroid history.
Yeah, I was I remember we watched this. We had to watch this one in our car on a phone because LA sucks and you have to find parking and stuff like that. So it's just we were sitting in a parking lot on a hot summer day watching this stream in a car, and this popped up and we were just rocking. The car was probably rocking back and forth with how excited we were. Just everything about that event. Or that presentation where it was just oh yeah, Snake's back, this guy's back, and then like you said, just they finish it off with Ridley, and you're just this is what I've been waiting for over 10 years. This is it. 15 years.
It was so awesome. It just it felt like such a journey to get there. I mean, honestly, it just felt okay, so we've had Ridley teased in Super Smash Bros. Melee. Maybe they didn't have the logistics down about how that would work at the time because he can literally fly. So we get to Brawl. He's still not a part of Brawl, but to compensate that, we have this boss battle against him and also the boss battle against Meta Ridley. But he's still not playable. So we get to Smash 4, and it feels like it's just falling off the rails. By that point, you're he's this weird boss playable character stuck in one stage purgatory thing. It felt like it just wasn't going to happen. You'd heard so many times, Ridley's too big to be in Smash. This was the culmination of a journey to get him in there. And, like the fact that it was like the main event of Nintendo's, E3 showing was a huge deal for Metroid. So yeah, I remember being like super proud as a Metroid fan, even though we had nothing to do with it. But I was like, we did it. We got him into Smash.
Yeah. I can share about my experience like after that when you go to the E3 show floor, right? Like Smash Brothers was the main event, like the marquee showing. So they had that, that classic character image of Smash Brothers Ultimate where all of the characters are there on like I think the Battlefield stage.
Yeah.
And they fill it in as new characters are announced, right? That thing was printed out like in a giant panorama. This thing had to be like 50 feet long.
Wow.
And there that you see Ridley right up there where he has been, and you're just like, oh, this is so cool. And then, you wait in line to play the game and you could play it on like the big stage. So you can actually sit there and watch like two players fight each other on this giant screen right underneath that panorama image. And it was just, I don't know, it was a big spectacle. So you wait in line, you play the game, and it was Smash Ultimate, but they did not have all of the characters available to play, even though we knew who most of them were anyway. But, so you had Mario and Kirby and Link in there, but like of the new characters that had just announced or the returning characters, I think the only two noteworthy ones were the Splatoon Inkling and Ridley. And I was like, well, I've got to play Ridley. What are you talking about, right? And I pick him up and I'm like, this character's awesome. Because, I'm not a great Smash player. I would consider myself like a kind of a go for broke, reckless type of player. And Ridley is perfect for that. Because he's like high risk, high reward. And I'm like, hey man, I'm going to go all out anyway. I might as well just like barrel into opponents and send them flying,
Yeah. Oh man. I loved the way that Ridley looked. Because like, I mean, even we had Samus Returns at this point. But like, the last big console Metroid game was still Other M. So, and like, Smash 4 wasn't that far removed. So I was like, please, dear God, like don't give us any of that dolphin bill junk. And Ridley looks like so awesome in this game. He looks very similar to Super Metroid, which I really love because he looks so good in that. They threw in a Meta Ridley the costume, which I think looks absolutely incredible. They have Proteus Ridley in there, which looks cool. He looks like so wicked.
His animations are perfect. 'Cause, like you just feel the weight and the fierceness with all of his moves.
Yeah. This was probably as good as we could have hoped for. Honestly, like after so many years of hoping and dreaming and hyping it up, I think that Ridley was like so like it paid off. I feel like,
and by this point, like we'd had only 2 like or 1.5 new Metroid characters, really.
Yeah,
it was like Samus and Samus 0.5, and you're like, you look at the roster and you see all the different series that are represented. Mario is like. Obviously has a lot of representation. Fire Emblem is getting like reaching, maximum clearance or whatever, and you're like, look at Samus all by herself there. You're like, well, where's Metroid at? And
it was a good moment.
There's a void to fill, and Ridley filled it.
Well, we're not done there. Let's talk about it. You mentioned Dark Samus earlier. And, as soon as they kind of introduced the concept of Echo Fighters, and I believe that Daisy was the first Echo Fighter that they had shown, I was just like, this makes too much sense not to have Dark Samus. And sure enough, shortly after, they did reveal that, in fact, Dark Samus was an Echo Fighter. And I know that we were kind of talking about, like, it's a little bit disappointing that, Dark Samus didn't have, like, phase-on-base moves or attacks or anything like that. But I will say that, I understand the concept of the Echo Fighter. I don't hate it. I actually like it. So within that context, like when you think about it, like, okay, like Dark Samus is either going to have, it's either going to be an Echo Fighter of Samus and share the same moves, or Dark Samus isn't going to be in the game at all. When looking at it through that lens, I'm actually totally okay with like Dark Samus not having an original set of moves, because I just thought that it was so cool that we got like another Metroid character into Smash Bros.
Right. And to be honest, it's like it's no harm putting her in there anyway. Like they're gonna do Echo Fighters, like you said. It's like it makes perfect sense to put her in there. Why not do it?
Yeah,
We're not losing
honestly.
anything.
The best thing about that I thought was like, well, this is great because now I get a Dark Samus amiibo and a Ridley amiibo for that matter.
Yeah.
So yeah, I loved that. And Dark Samus is fun enough, I think. Going through the rest of the stuff in Smash Ultimate, there's not really a ton of other Metroid stuff. Obviously, we have Dark Samus Assist Trophy taken out, but we get the returning Mother Brain and Metroid Assist Trophies, which is fine. We do still have the Screw Attack in there, so that's holding strong. And we kind of get like the best of the bunch for Metroid stages. We have
Brinstar Depths comes back, right?
Yep, you have Brinstar Depths, you have Frigate Orpheon, and you have Norfair. So they got rid of Pyrosphere, which is great because that stage was junk. And Zebes, Zebes is basically just Brinstar anyway, so that can go. So you don't have any new stages, which is too bad, but you do have kind of the best of the bunch of the old stages.
Yeah. All but the bad one, I guess.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that the Metroid stages are pretty average. I think that we're still missing that one great Metroid stage, but I feel like as far as these stages go, like they're definitely not awful. So that's kind of cool. There's 4 stages to pick from.
I just something just popped in my head that we didn't talk about with Melee as well. Something that Melee did, I don't think they have done it since Melee, but when you finish adventure mode or classic mode, you kind of, they do the staff roll, right? And there's you kind of fly through all the different members of the the credits, and you can shoot at them, right? I was always under the impression that you're flying Samus's ship in that sequence. Is that the case?
I don't think so, but now that you say that,
I don't know. Something gave me that impression. Like
truth.
Maybe that was just something I cooked up in my head, or maybe because I had the strategy guide, so maybe they said that in like the strategy guide, and it was just some guy editorializing and making stuff up. I don't know.
I'm picturing Pichu piloting Samus's ship, like shooting the credits at the end. I'm okay with that. We can go with that. I loved that. I loved that it kind of gave you a little thing to do during the credits, and
right.
I think they still do that in Ultimate too, but I off the top of my head I forget what it is, but you can still shoot something, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I love that feature actually. I always remember getting and shooting. There was a staff member in there who had like it said that they worked on Perfect Dark or something like that, and at the time Rare had just left Nintendo. Shortly after Melee came out, so I was like, oh, Perfect Dark, great, I love this game, I'm glad that it exists in Smash in some capacity. So so back to Ultimate here. I think that surprisingly actually there wasn't great new Metroid music. There was a ton of returning tracks which were awesome, but there was only 3 new tracks, and I didn't think that any of them were like fantastic actually. There was the Brinstar Depths, but it was like the violin remix. Do you remember that?
No, man. I've listened to Ultimate soundtrack a few times. But yeah, I none of that stuff sticks out to me other than the returning tracks.
Yeah, like none of the new tracks were super great. So, honestly, in terms of like, and I guess we should say too that they got rid of trophies. So there's no trophies, but there is a ton of different like Metroid spirits. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But like, really, in terms of everything but characters, Ultimate is, pretty lacking in terms of like Metroid, like good Metroid stuff. But, I think that the characters more than make up for everything. Ridley finally getting into Smash was like such a cool deal. Dark Samus getting in was such a cool deal that like it's super easy to overlook and forgive everything else.
Yeah, and I don't know what the future is for Smash. Obviously, we have a handful of characters left to be announced. They said at one point that all those characters were going to be third party, but they've already gone back on that promise by having another Fire Emblem character announced. So who knows? Maybe we'll see more Metroid here by the end of it.
That would be a pretty cool like hype train for Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
If they wanted to put a character from that into Smash. Frankly, that would be a pretty cool hype train for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. If they wanted to throw in an Urbosa or a Mifa or an Impa as a playable character, that'd be pretty cool.
That'd be dope.
So yeah. But yeah, really interesting to look back throughout the history of Super Smash Bros. And kind of see how Metroid has been positioned and its evolution, I guess, through the series. I really do think that Metroid owes a lot to Smash Bros. And Metroid obviously isn't the most popular franchise in the world, but like I think it would be even less popular without Smash kind of helping, gain some new eyes on the product.
I agree.
So yeah, there it is. Well, that's gonna do it for us. Of course, I want you guys to let us know what your favorite Metroid memories in Smash Bros was. Make it more original than when Ridley was announced. Obviously, I think that's probably everybody's favorite. But yeah, let us know. Rod, thank you for filling in for Dak this week.
You got it. I'm gonna go take a nap.
To have you on. Yeah, I was gonna say we'll have to do this again, but definitely after we have napped and recharged. Because what a weekend it's been.
Oh man.
Oh, man. All right, well, we're going to get out of here. Of course, we want you to check us out over on Podbean, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. Go and like and subscribe to the Omega Metroid podcast and recommend it to a Metroid fan in your life. Tell them where they can get their Metroid fix every single week. We are out of here. We are on Twitter over at Omega Metroid Pod. I am at Spateria316. Rod is at Rod the Master. That's it. That's all. We will see you guys next week.